Welcome, Habs faithful, to a story that's been simmering under the surface for years, a tale of triumph that's rewriting history for the Montreal Canadiens. Imagine a trade that, at first glance, seemed like just another roster shuffle, a footnote in the chaos of the NHL. But what if I told you that this single move has become a cornerstone of our franchise, a deal so lopsided it's now whispered about as one of the greatest heists of the salary cap era? Buckle up, because we're diving into the saga of Nick Suzuki, a captain, a game changer, and the heart of our team. Let's rewind to September 2018. The Vegas Golden Knights, fresh off a Stanley Cup final appearance, were in full win-now mode. They wanted immediate firepower, a proven scorer to push them over the edge. Enter Max Pacioretty, a bona fide goal scorer and a leader from our own roster. In return, the Habs got Tomas Tatar, a solid NHL winger, and a prospect named Nick Suzuki, plus a second-round pick. On paper, it looked balanced. Vegas got their star. We got a ready-to-play forward and a kid with potential. A fair swap of present for future. Or so everyone thought. At the time, Suzuki wasn't seen as a surefire top-line center. He was a respectable prospect, a guy with skill and hockey IQ, but not a guaranteed franchise player. The spotlight was on Tatar, the established piece expected to fill the offensive void left by Pacioretty. Analysts nodded, fans shrugged, and the hockey world moved on. Vegas doubled down on their aggressive, contend-now philosophy, trading future assets for immediate impact. It was a strategy that eventually led them to the Stanley Cup, but here's the kicker. Pacioretty wasn't even on their roster when they hoisted the trophy. Their win-now gamble paid off, but this trade? It's a different story. Fast forward to today, and the narrative has flipped on its head. Nick Suzuki isn't just a player for the Montreal Canadiens. He's the player, our captain, our offensive engine, our heartbeat. What was once a routine hockey trade is now in the conversation with the most lopsided deals of the modern era. Suzuki has shattered every expectation, evolving into a role no one saw coming. He's not a complementary piece. He's the foundation of our lineup, a 26-year-old premier number one center who's still climbing toward his peak. Let's talk numbers, because they don't lie. Last season, after the Four Nations face-off break, Suzuki went on an absolute tear. 34 points in 23 games. A jaw-dropping 1.48 points per game pace. He finished second in league scoring during that stretch, trailing only Robert Thomas, while dragging the Habs to a 15-6-2 record. That momentum hasn't slowed. With 7 games left this season, Suzuki sits at 94 points, on the cusp of becoming the first Canadian to hit 100 since Mats Naslin's 110 in 1985-86. He's built one of the NHL's longest active Ironman streaks, represented Canada at the 2026 Olympics, and is a leading candidate for the Zelka Trophy as one of the league's best two-way forwards. This isn't just growth, it's domination. But Suzuki's impact isn't limited to his own stat line. He's the anchor of one of the league's most lethal lines. Cole Caulfield is on pace for a 50-goal season, sniping at will. Uri Slavkovsky is having a career year, closing in on 30 goals and smashing personal bests in points. Suzuki elevates everyone around him, turning good players into great ones. He's the glue that holds our offensive zone together, the guy who wins key faceoffs, drives play, and battles in the dirty areas. This is what a franchise center looks like. Now, let's put this trade in context. The NHL has seen its share of deals that looked fine at the time, but aged like milk. Take the 2013 trade of Philip Forsberg from Washington to Nashville from Martin Erat. Forsberg became a top-line winger, a consistent offensive driver, while Erat gave the Caps next to nothing before being shipped out again. Or look at 2016, when Edmonton sent Taylor Hall to New Jersey for Adam Larson. Hall won the Hart Trophy with a 93-point season. Larson was a steady defenseman, but nowhere near that impact. These are trades where one side misjudged potential, and the other reaped the rewards. Then there's the 2022 Matthew Tkachuk deal. Florida got a cornerstone who powered them to back-to-back Stanley Cups, defining their gritty identity. Calgary got pieces like Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar, but the expected leap never came. And don't forget Erik Karlsson's 2018 move to San Jose. Karlsson put up Norris Trophy numbers, but the Sharks couldn't translate that into team success. eventually trading him again. Meanwhile, Ottawa turned their return into Tim Stützle, a key piece of their rebuild. Suzuki's trade fits closer to the Forsberg mold, a deal that made sense in the moment but unraveled as the player became far more than anyone projected. Vegas saw him as a useful chip in their win-now puzzle, not a future captain. That's the miss. Unlike Edmonton's Hall trade, this was an immediate disaster for Vegas. They achieved their ultimate goal of a cup, validating their aggressive approach. But in the long term, Montreal walked away with the jackpot. Suzuki isn't just a good player. He's a piece our entire roster orbits around. Let's break this down from a GM's perspective. When you evaluate a trade, you weigh short-term impact against long-term value. Vegas prioritized the former, and it worked for their broader strategy. But Pacioretty's departure from their roster before the Cup would mean a specific deal didn't directly fuel their championship. For the Habs, Suzuki's rise has been exponential. Every season, his role grows. Every game, his influence deepens. This isn't just a win. It's a franchise-altering coup. Now, imagine if Vegas had held on to Suzuki. Picture him centering their top line, driving their offense, wearing their colors. Instead, he's ours. A 26-year-old star who's already among the elite with room to get even better. The salary cap era is brutal. Every decision, every contract, every trade is a gamble with long-lasting ripples. For us, this gamble paid off in spades. Suzuki's cap hit is a bargain for his production, giving us flexibility to build around him. He's not just a player. He's an asset, a leader, a symbol of what the Canadiens can be. But here's where the story gets spicy. Trades like this expose the razor-thin margins of NHL roster building. Vegas took a calculated risk, prioritizing immediate contention over development. It worked for them in the big picture, but at what cost? For every Stanley Cup they celebrate, there's a quiet sting knowing Suzuki could have been theirs. Meanwhile, for Habs fans, this trade is a badge of honor, a reminder that patience and vision can turn a fair deal into a legacy-defining steal. So, let's throw a tough question into the mix, something to spark debate in the comments. Did Mark Bergevin, our GM at the time, know he was pulling off a heist? Or was this pure luck? Was this trade a stroke of genius? Or did Suzuki's rise catch even our front office by surprise? I want to hear your take. Let's get the Bell Center buzzing with opinions. As we look ahead, Suzuki's trajectory is still pointing skyward. He's not just carrying the torch for this team. He's lighting the path to our next Stanley Cup. Every goal, every assist, every shift. He's building a legacy in Montreal. And that trade? It's no longer a footnote. It's a chapter in our history books, a moment where the Habs outsmarted the league and secured a cornerstone for years to come. Habs faithful, if you're as fired up about Suzuki's journey as I am, smash that like button to show your love for our captain. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're just getting started on this ride. Let's keep the passion for the Canadiens burning bright. Together, we're unstoppable. Until next time, keep bleeding blue, white, and red.